Hey all, Aston here with a new video. My last video I posted was over a year ago, and I apologize for making you wait on this one. I have a lot of video projects lined up and we'll be working on them, so stay tuned for upcoming videos. In my last video, we covered the first Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2 Adventure of Link on the NES to see if we could complete those games without touching a single rupee. If you want to check it out, the link to the video is in the description. This time, we are seeing if we can complete The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past for the Super NES without touching a single rupee, without glitches. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified for new content. It really means a lot. So, to see if we can complete The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past for the Super NES, here are some rules. We cannot touch any rupees or obtain any rupees from chests or NPCs. That rupee counter must stay at 0 at all times. No glitches. Must defeat Ganon. And the challenge will end when we are forced to collect rupees. Alright, let's get started. Naming the file Link, original, I know. I then begin in Link's house as normal. Listen to Zelda's plea, and then Uncle tells us he's leaving and to stay here. Are we though? Nah. We jump out of bed, grab the lantern, and go outside in the rain. I make my way to the hidden entrance here, and go down to meet Uncle and grab the sword and shield while he just takes a nap. I go through as normal, careful that I don't pick up any rupees, and make my way into the castle itself, dodging the enemies, grabbing the boomerang, and made my way towards Zelda's jail cell. I beat this guy with a couple of pots to save Zelda, and then open this chest. Are you kidding me? Okay, let's redo that again. Dodge enemies, grab boomerang, grab Zelda. Not opening this chest. And then make my way to the throne room. I go through the sewers making sure I don't grab any rupees, and end up in the sanctuary and grabbing the heart container in the chest. After that, I make a pit stop at Gakrika Village to talk to the old lady, and then going east towards the Eastern Palace where Sahasrara lives nearby. Dodging more rupees, I made it to Sahasrara's place, talked to him, and he tells Link that he'll tell him more of the legend and give him a magical artifact. I make my way to the dungeon, and we have arrived. The Eastern Palace is a pretty short and easy dungeon, so not much happened here. Was easy to dodge rupees and beat up some skeletons with my boomerang. I grabbed the dungeon map, the compass, and the big key here, and went to go get the bow out of the big chest. I killed the Igors here in a couple of rooms, and made it to the boss. The boss was really easy, as all I had to do was shoot at each copy, then with the last one, dodge the stomps and defeat the boss. I grabbed the heart container and the pendant of courage. 1 dungeon down and 0 rupees collected so far. After exiting the dungeon, I went back to Sahasrara's place to show him our goods, and was rewarded with the Pegasus boots. Then, I made my way to the library that was south of Gakrika Village to knock into this bookshelf and grab the Book of Mandora, since it's mandatory to open the next dungeon. After that, I went more south, dodged more enemies and rupees on the way, went west, traveled through the desert, and used the Book of Mandora to pray at this tablet to open the dungeon. After the statues moved, I entered the dungeon. Welcome to the Desert Palace. Another simple and easy early dungeon, just gotta dodge those levers here and there. Went through a few rooms, grabbed the compass, used the Pegasus boots to dash my way across this room to grab the big key, and carefully made it over to the room with the big chest to grab the power glove. Now Link can lift big rocks. After that, I exited the dungeon, went back here, moved the rocks, and re-entered. Dodging the BMOS and the floor tiles in a few rooms here and there, I lit the torches here to move the wall, and finally made it to the boss room. I hate this boss so much. It's annoying rather than difficult, but I managed to defeat it after a bajillion spin attacks. Grab the heart container and the pendant of power. Another dungeon down and no rupees have been touched. Once I exited the dungeon, I went north of Kakariko to lift this rock and enter the cave to make my way up Death Mountain. I met with the lost old man here and helped him get through the caves to his little cave home. He gave Link the mirror, which will help him get back to the light world from the dark world. I made my way further up the mountain and found the dark world portal here. I stepped into it and transformed into a cute little bunny rabbit. Aw, he's so cute. Anyways, I walked over here and used the mirror to get on top of Spectacle Rock. I grabbed the piece of heart and jumped down to enter the final light world dungeon, the Tower of Hera. Another easy dungeon, just a bit tedious with the orange and blue block switches. I quickly traversed through some rooms, grabbed the dungeon map, dodged some floor tiles, lit some torches here, and grabbed the big key. Time to go backtracking! Dodging rupees left and right, I finally made it to the room of holes, and fell down the right hole first try to grab the moon pearl from the big chest here. Now Link won't turn into a bunny when he travels to the Dark World. Now it's time to face the burger worm, Moldworm. This is another tedious boss. It kept knocking me down over and over and over and over. I finally managed to defeat him. I grabbed the heart container and the final pendant, the Pendant of Wisdom. All Light World dungeons have been completed and still haven't touched a single rupee. Time to go grab the Master Sword. Exiting the tower, I made it all the way down the mountain and into the mysterious woods. I navigated through fairly easily, grabbed the mushroom, and made my way to the meadow where the Master Sword slept. Now the Master Sword is ours. We can break the seal on Harrow Castle and go after Aghanim. Zelda then tells us the guards entered the sanctuary, and we found out that she's been kidnapped again. Quickly making back to the sanctuary, I talked to the priest, and he sadly perishes after telling Link that he's Harrow's only hope. With new determination, I went to Harrow Castle with haste. Slashing at this barrier, I made it into the upper parts of Harrow Castle. This place is easy to navigate through, thankfully, but it is riddled with both new and old enemies. I defeated them, dodged the rupees, smacked the knights in the dark, and finally made it to where Aghanim is, with Zelda on the pedestal. Unfortunately, Link was too late, and Aghanim teleports Zelda to the Dark World, where the other maidens were. He vanishes behind the curtains, and Link goes after him. He's a pretty easy boss, just have to bounce his balls of magic back at him, dodge his lightning, and boop, he's been defeated. What happens now is that he drags Link to the Dark World, on top of this pyramid. Now, it's time to conquer the Dark World dungeons. Sahasrara tells us to go to the Palace of Darkness first, where the Eastern Palace is in the Light World. I traveled east, defeated more enemies while dodging more rupees along the way. I go out and start wandering a little bit to find the correct path here. I defeated more enemies, waited for the rupee drops to disappear, and continued on. When going through this little maze, a monkey named Kiki started following me and asked for 10 rupees. Do I look like I have money, monkey? Shoot. But we need the monkey to follow us to open the palace door, since there is no other way to enter the dungeon. Unfortunately, this is the end of the challenge. Stopped by this stupid monkey who is rupee greedy and is the only way to open the dungeon. We can't really go anywhere else because we need a hammer to get to other places on the map, and we can't swim, so we have lost right before the first dungeon of the Dark World. Dang it. So, is it possible to beat The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on the Super NES without touching a single rupee, without glitches? Unfortunately, no, it is not. Well, now that we know that it is not possible to beat the game without touching a single rupee, without glitches, let's see what the minimum amount of rupees we need to finish this game. So, from here on, I will have this rupee counter right here to show our total is throughout the rest of the game. With that, let's get back to it. So after collecting 10 rupees, I paid the monkey to follow me, only to find out that he wanted another 100 to open the dungeon itself. Talk about greedy! So I restarted the game. I saved right after I got to the Dark World, and went back to the area. I collected exactly 110 rupees for the monkey. No more, no less. I don't want to grab any extra rupees, just the minimum amount we need. After paying 10 rupees for the monkey to follow us, and another 100 rupees to open the palace, I finally made it inside. Entering the dungeon and being greeted with a new dungeon theme, I got to work right away. This dungeon isn't too bad, some backtracking is involved, but otherwise it wasn't terrible. Gathered some keys, blowing up walls, beating some jellyfish, got the map, grabbed more keys, dashed my way across this bridge, grabbed the compass, shoot a statue in the eye to move a wall, backtracked a bit, blew up this bridge and fell down, grabbed the key, and finally found the hammer. backtracked even more and got lost at one point. I was missing a key and couldn't figure out where. I finally managed to track it down, but oh no. Oh no, look at all these rupees. Oh boy. I really hope I can just avoid. Oh. Oh! I can walk along the wall and dodge all of them to grab this one key. Don't have to add any more rupees to our counter. Okay, good. Back on track. Got past a few enemies, avoiding the rupees, and eventually made it to the boss room to face Helmasaur King. This boss is a bit tricky because you have to get near it just to hammer its faceplate off, so you have to be extra careful. I managed to dodge all of his attacks, and the Helmasaur King was no more. I grabbed the heart container and the crystal, freeing the first maiden. First Dark World dungeon complete, and only collected 110 rupees so far. Let's hope it stays that way. Next is the Swamp Palace, but first I wanted to get the flute so we can fast travel. I made my way to the little secret meadow and talked to the boy on the stump. He gives me the shovel, and I travel to Light World to find his flute to give it to him. I grabbed it and went back to him. Unfortunately, he said he can't play it anymore and wanted to hear it one last time. So Link plays his flute before the boy turns into a tree. Talk about depressing. I went back to Kakariko and played the flute in front of the weathercock to summon the bird, or duck, according to the Zelda wiki. After that, I went to go grab the magic cloak, which is located in the graveyard. There's an easy way to get it. You just have to be in the Dark World, go to this spot, and use the mirror to go back to the Light World and push this tombstone, and voila! Magic cape. I then went to the witch's hut to give her the mushroom I picked up earlier to get the magic powder. This will help us turn anti-fairies into fairies in dungeons. Back in Kakariko, I went east here and jumped down this hole to scatter some of the new magic powder I've obtained, and sprinkled on this cauldron to summon the Mad Batter. He will curse us to have our magic usage. This will come in handy throughout the rest of the game. Next, I ventured up Death Mountain and in this cave of spikes. I used the magic cape and dashed through to reach the Cane of Burna. I accidentally died and warped back to the top of the pyramid. I quickly went back to the Light World, traveled to Link's house and went south. I opened a hidden portal to the Dark World here, and went towards where the desert usually is. Here, I warped to the Light World and went west to grab the Bebos Medallion. Once that was done, I went towards the place where the Swamp Palace is in the Dark World, grabbed the bombs out of the chest, and went to drain the water. In the Dark World, the water is drained for some reason, and we're able to venture into the dungeon. Oh no, Link can't swim. I forgot I needed the flippers for this dungeon. Oh boy. So I left the dungeon and now I'm on my way to get the flippers. Unfortunately, the flippers cost a whole whopping 500 rupees. So, time to start farming. I went to the Dark World by Kakariko, stole someone's money, cut some bushes, went into the chess minigame. Hey, future self here. So, while editing this video, I did not math right when I was playing and didn't calculate the rupees I lost when I was playing this minigame, which caused us to collect more rupees than expected. In total, it was an extra 90 rupees. So, for the rest of this video, I'll have these two counters. One for the rupees I touched, and this one here is if you don't spend any rupees to get rupees. This one here is the actual counter. We good? Good. To get some good winnings to help speed up the process, but making sure I don't go over 500 rupees. 469. Nice. Slashing some bushes, defeating some enemies, went back to the Light World, traveled to the witch's hut, and just farmed rupees here. Finally 500 rupees collected. No more, no less. I then made my way up Zora's River and purchased the Zora Flippers. We are now at a total of 610 rupees so far. Dang it. Let's hope we don't have to collect any more. Now with the flippers on Link's feet, I can finally swim in the Swamp Palace. I went back, redrained the water, and went back to the Dark World to go back into the dungeon. Okay, now we're all set. I went through the dungeon as normal since I knew this was a pretty easy one to navigate. I grabbed some keys, grabbed the map, dodged rupees, flooded some floors, grabbed the compass, dodged more rupees, and finally grabbing the big key. All that's left to do is grab the hookshot and beat the boss. I ignored these chests, swam through a water current, and finally made it to the boss. Beating Argus is pretty easy. Just hookshot these, puffballs? Wait, they're supposed to be jellyfish called Argy? They look like popcorn. Anyways, we defeated all the Argy, and Argus starts jumping and going after Link. This is another easy phase, as I just dodged and smacked it with some spin attacks to take it down. Once defeated, I grabbed the heart container and the next crystal, saving another maiden. I made my way back to the Dark World portal that's near Kakariko and entered the Skull Woods. I navigated to the right entrance, since the next dungeon has multiple entrances, and if done correctly, you can finish this dungeon in like 10 minutes. I entered this entrance and navigated through it quickly, defeating Gibdos, dodging rupees, dodging some wall masters, and then I found the big key fairly quickly. Exiting this part of the dungeon, I made my way to this patch of bushes and re-entered the dungeon. I bombed the wall here, pulled a lever, and BAM! Fire rod obtained. Backtracking and exiting the dungeon again, I made my way up north, lit the statue on fire, and entered the last part of the dungeon. Defeated more Gibdos, lit some torches, dodged the wall masters again, fell through this hole, and we're at the boss. Mothula can be tricky since there's moving floors and spikes, but with the magic cape you can dodge them. Or, if you're skilled enough, you can dodge everything and smack the boss with the fire rod a few times, and it goes down. Grab the heart container and our third crystal, releasing the next maiden. See, I told you this dungeon was quick. Exiting the dungeon, I made my way back to the village of outcasts and pulled on the statue, entering the next dungeon, Gargoyle's Domain, or Thieves' Town. Not sure why there's two names for this place. Anyways, this dungeon can be really confusing if you don't know where to go. Thankfully, there's a really easy path we can follow, and this dungeon can be done fairly quickly as well. I made my way up a screen, right, down, left, down here, and grabbed the big key. I backtracked a couple screens and went through the big door here. Rushed through this hall, grabbed a key, went through this locked door, went through a couple rooms while grabbing a fairy. I forgot to mention I grabbed a bottle on the bug catching net, but forgot to press record earlier. Oops. Anyways, I entered this room full of spikes, hit the switch, killed some enemies, blew up this part of the floor to have the light shine through. Backtracked a bit, saved this girl, grabbed the Titan Spit, and led her to this room where the light was shining through. She screams it's too bright and changed into the boss, Blind the Thief. Beating him was a pain in the butt, but was easy since I have the Cane of Burna, which protected Link and hurt the heads in a short time. After defeating the boss, I grabbed the heart container and the fourth crystal. Once that dungeon was completed, I made my way south of the village and rescued this frog, who happened to be one of the blacksmithing dwarves in the Light World. I led him back to his house in the Light World to be reunited with his partner. They offered to temper my sword. For 10 rupees? We aren't going to do that since we are broke, and I don't want to touch any more rupees than I have to. So, leaving their house unrewarded, I summoned the duck to travel to Lake Hylia, uncovered this hidden Dark World portal, and entered the next dungeon, the Ice Palace. I hate this place. It seems that almost every dang floor in this dungeon is slippery and covered in ice. The enemies are brutal here too, but we have the Beamos Battalion to help clear rooms. Going through the dungeon as normal, trying to dodge enemies and rupees while slipping all over the place, struggling to get down this stupid staircase, dodging these fireball bars while skating, hookshotting over spikes, evading these large spike traps, defeating these big skeletons, and found the map. Going up these stairs, I finally found the big key. Okay, we're halfway there, right? After backtracking, trying to make my way down these stupid stairs again, bombed the floor here and fell through, finally reaching the big chest which contains the blue tunic. Woohoo! Less damage done to me! Exiting this room, I got lost. Oh boy. I went through some rooms, trying to find the right path. I eventually figured out where I needed to go and realized I needed to do a tedious backtracking path after hitting the crystal switch, because I didn't have the Cane of Samaria yet. you can cheese this part of the dungeon if you have it. So now, after what seemed like it took forever to backtrack, I finally made it up here to where I can push the block down to the lower floor. After moving the block on the switch, I made it down to the southern room and fell down the hole here. Finally, the boss, Cold Stare. Cold Stare is a fairly easy boss as well, just melting the ice here with the fire rod and then smacking its clones with more fire. The boss eventually went down. I grabbed the heart container and our 5th crystal. Once that painful dungeon was done, I traveled to the light world and up Death Mountain to grab the ether medallion. After that, I traveled to the desert using the duck and found another hidden dark world portal. Stepping through it brings me to Misery Mire. The entrance is blocked, and so I used the ether medallion to open it up. After that, I went inside. Another dungeon I hate. This place is miserable without a guide or knowing where to go. No wonder it's called Misery Mire. Thankfully, the guide I was using had a quick route rather than 100%ing the dungeon. So, I followed that to quickly get through this maze of a dungeon. Going through some rooms, defeated enemies, grabbed some keys, moved some blocks, lit these lanterns, fell down this hole, grabbed the big key, backtracked, dashed over this collapsing bridge, and finally grabbed the Cane of Samaria. Leaving this room, I backtracked even more, went through some dark rooms, and finally reached the boss, Vitreous. Another simple boss, thankfully. I defeated all the eyes that set out, then I just stood here and shot a bunch of arrows at it to defeat it. Another heart container and the 6th crystal obtained. Traveling back to the light world, I thought it would be best to go grab the silver arrows now that I remembered where to get them. I traveled back to the dark world, went back to the pyramid, and went in front of this crack in the wall. I completely forgot normal bombs don't work here, and we need to get the big bomb, which is sold by a bomb shop owner where Link's house is in the dark world. Upon entering the shop, the guy wanted 100 rupees for it? What? More rupees? Alright, fine. Ugh. The silver arrows are mandatory if we want to defeat Ganon, so more rupee farming for me. Yay. After obtaining 100 rupees on the dot, I purchased the big bomb and went straight for the pyramid, making sure I don't accidentally use the A button to set it off. Once the bomb went off, I went inside and threw in the bow. The Great Fairy here asked if I dropped it, and I told her yes, so she gave me the silver arrows for my honesty and told Link that these arrows will give Ganon his last moment. We are now standing at 710 rupees so far. I really hope we don't need any more rupees. Now it was time to go grab the last medallion. I made my way over to where the entrance was to Zora's River and threw a skull into these circle of rocks. Out popped a fish and told me he would give me something if I just leave him be. He gifted Link the Quake medallion. Alright, time to travel to Death Mountain and to the last dungeon. Back up the mountain, I went east here and pounded the stakes in the ground in the right order to open a Dark World portal. Once back here, I used the Quake medallion to open the final dungeon, Turtle Rock. This dungeon is a pain in my butt at times. It's not difficult, but you can get lost easily. So, let's tackle it. Going through as normal, using the Cane of Samaria to make platforms, lit the torches here and entered the door before the lanterns went out, dodged spiky rolly things, grabbed the map, defeated this bouncing thing, dodged chain chomps. What are you doing here? Traveled through some tubes, grabbed the big key, backtracked, got lost, found my way again, bombed the wall here, grabbed the mirror shield, got lost again, dashed over this bridge with shooting laser beams, and found my way to the boss room to face Trinex. I shot the ice head with the fire rod to stun it and defeated it. Only then I realized, I don't have the ice rod. I forgot to grab it and there's no way to stun or defeat the fire head without it. So I saved and quit, started up the file, went to fill up my hearts and grabbed a ferry, traveled to the light world, and went east of Lake Hylia into this ice cave. I forgot to record me traveling here, and grabbed the ice rod. Then I made my way back to Turtle Rock. Boy, talk about an annoying detour. The game doesn't even tell you need the ice rod. Alright, so I made my way back to the boss room, and now it was time to make this rock dinosaur extinct. Defeating the ice and fire heads, Trinex slithers around like a snake and the middle part is vulnerable. I died once here, so I came back with more determination. I actually ran out of magic here and had to take another death. Dang it. After beating the heads once again, I managed to defeat the last phase without taking any damage this time. Talk about lucky. Once Trinex was defeated, I grabbed the heart container and the last crystal, finally freeing Princess Zelda. Time to tackle the last place, Ganon's Tower. Ganon's Tower was just west of Turtle's Rock, just a few screens over. This place is a gauntlet of a dungeon. Nothing too exciting happens here though, just littered with tough enemies and some puzzles. Making my way through the tower, defeating enemies, went through a warp maze, went over an invisible pathway, fell down a hole here, defeated the Armos Knight boss. It was a one-shot kill with the silver arrows. Woohoo! Grabbed the big key, grabbed a fairy, found the red tunic, backtracked, made my way up, defeated more enemies, defeated the Land Moloss boss, defeated more enemies, lit some more lanterns, beat up Hamburger Worm Molder without falling off this time, and finally made my way up to face Aghanim for the last time. I used my butt caging net because why not? After playing tennis with him, he was finally defeated, and out came Ganon. Link chased him to the top of the pyramid, where Ganon smashed through the roof for Link to follow. Sadly, I was not prepared, so I quickly went to go refill my magic and hearts, then fell into the hole. This is it. The final battle against the King of Evil, Ganon. Because I didn't have any sword upgrades from the base Master Sword, the only way to damage Ganon was spin attacks. So that was fun to do. After like a bajillion spin attacks and dodging his trident, dodging his fireball bats, lighting the lanterns, making him turn blue, and shooting him with a few silver arrows, I defeated him once and for all. Now that Ganon has been defeated, and the Triforce is ours, the minimum amount of rupees you need to complete The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for the Super NES without glitches is 710 rupees. That's a lot! We made it all the way to the Dark World and right before the first dungeon before having to touch a single rupee, all because of that dang monkey wanting 10 rupees to follow you and another 100 to open the dungeon. Then having to purchase the Zora Flippers for another 500, then buying the big bomb to blow up this part of the pyramid to get the silver arrows. This game loves to hand you rupees, and in a normal playthrough, you can max out your rupees to 999 easily. So, there you have it. A minimum of 710 rupees later, and you can beat this game without glitches. Now, you may be wondering why I kept saying without glitches. Well, there's a really easy glitch to do in this game to beat it in less than 3 minutes. And yes, I'm dead serious. Let's make a new file and name him Skippy. Then, listen to Zelda's plea, leave Link's house, go through the secret entrance, tell Uncle to have a good nap, and grab the sword and shield. Quickly make your way into Hyrule Castle, and jump off this ledge and press select while in midair to save and quit. This puts the game in a really weird state. Open up the file, make your way back into Hyrule Castle without getting hit, otherwise it cancels out the glitch. Make your way up here, and get this guard's attention by smacking him. Run and press against this wall, and once Link gets hit, he'll clip into it. Make your way up 2 screens, and then right. You'll see Link's hat, and this is a good indicator on where he is. Once he disappears into the wall again, make sure you don't accidentally go right a screen. Hold up on the D-pad, go past a few rooms, and voila! Triforce! So this game can be completed without touching a single rupee, using glitches. In the end, no, it is not possible to beat A Link to the Past without touching a single rupee without glitches. But it is possible with glitches. Whew, what a ride! Sorry that this video is a lot longer than normal. I haven't played this game in almost a decade, and this game is a lot longer than Zelda 1. I hope you enjoyed this video! Before I end the video, if you want to support my channel, you can hop over to my Ko-fi or my Patreon to become a member. There are a few membership tiers you can choose from. All of them have perks such as behind the scenes, your name at the end of each new video I post, and you can get a special role in my Discord server to see upcoming projects and more behind the scenes posts. Purple Rupee members will get a verbal shout out at the end. Links to my Ko-fi and Patreon are down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more upcoming content. Have a great day. Bye!